Hi, everybody. Welcome to the second segment, episode 264 of Sold with Updike Pugh. I'm Jeff Updike.
And I'm Weston Pugh. And we thought today, given the way that the weather is beginning to change, that we would talk a little bit about, is your home ready for spring storms?
Man, we just got a bout of it. I mean, we've had 3 really significant rains in the last 2 weeks.
And it's interesting because this Monday in our office meeting, Tammy Farmer, who is within our insurance provider at Dave Perry Miller, came in and talked a little bit about this. And this is what triggered. I was like, this is something we really need to talk about, because when the storms are here, it's too late if you're not ready. So what we thought we'd do is break this into like pre-storm, post-storm, and then what to do. So let's start us off.
So the first thing you need to do is pull out the insurance policy. And I know that there are a lot of people that don't want to go through this, that just don't really. It's so boring, but let me tell you, it is important to know what your coverages are. The cost of, many times when you purchase a home, the insurance agent issues a policy for the amount you paid for the home. Mm-hmm. Well, over the years, that value of that home has gone up. Maybe you've made improvements to it. Maybe you've added on a little bit. And if you've never changed that insurance policy, you're still only covered to that exact amount.
That is correct.
And so it is time for you to review those numbers. If you need help, we're not insurance people at all. If you have questions, just general questions, please call us. We're happy to share our own experiences with you about it. I just went through going through all of our insurance and getting new policies issued. So I know what that's like.
The other thing too that is important to be aware of is what is wind and what is water damage, and how that is actually broken out into your policy. Mm-hmm. That really needs to be explained by the carrier to let you know what is or isn't. Also ask the question, is there anything that I need to add onto that? By simply asking, you're really giving them a chance to help upsell. Mm-hmm. You'll be surprised at what it doesn't cost really at the end per month. The other thing
I can give you a great example of that, because when I was just going through it, the agent was telling me, asking me, do you want a jewelry policy? And I'm like, we don't have any expensive jewelry. We've got, a couple of Apple watches and maybe, and that's about it really. And she was like, oh, okay. So we went on through, and then as we got toward the end with when we were working on the auto policies, she said, hey, I just found that if you add the jewelry policy on now, your premium at home actually goes down by more than the cost of that policy.
Yes.
Save me $100 a year by buying an additional policy.
They want that additional coverage. Mm-hmm. The other thing to understand is what your loss of use coverage looks like. Well, I was lucky enough that when I had the accident at my condo, that I had a large loss of use policy. So loss of use actually has limitations both on dollars and on time. Be aware of both of those. They're very critical. A total loss of a house can be a very long process. Mm-hmm. We just saw that when the supply chains were broken. If there's a short amount of time, this could be a problem for you if it's a substantial loss.
And document. One of the great things that you can do is just walk around your house taking pictures of what you own. Mm-hmm. And that is proof that you owned it, because you may have receipts for all of that may have gone up in that fire as well. But by documenting that and having pictures of it or video of it as you walk through your closet and you open up and hold up each piece of jewelry that you have, it is that important.
Here's an interesting thing too, because documenting is key and it is one of the biggest points of evidence, but it's also important to ask them if you can have access to what it looks like when you have to make a claim. Because when I made the claim, I had to actually fill out tons of information: date it was purchased, approximate valuation, name of the store that it came from. Having all that information up front would have been very interesting. It would have accelerated the process. So just a little tip.
So what to do after the storm?
Immediately after the storm. So one of the first things we're going to talk about is safety. And the biggest thing that I would say is turning off your utilities. So that's going to be get gas off first, mm-hmm. electric off second, and water off third, because additional water damage caused by flooding within pipes is going to have a different impact on your insurance versus when the wind blows off and rain comes in. Mm-hmm. Two different things. You have to be very, very, very mindful of that.
Again, photography is your best friend, because you want to photograph the damage that's occurred. You just want to have as much information and as much documentation as you can when you call the insurance company. do that promptly. I would say certainly within 24 hours of a loss, of a known loss, call them and put them on notice that this has happened.
Yep.
A lot of times there are immediate things that an insurance agent is able to do. I know that many of the homeowners that went through the tornado that came through here, was it 2015 or so? Anyway, came through about 5 years ago. Anyway, they some of those insurance carriers came out and just started writing checks to people, big checks, because they knew those people needed to move into another place. They needed to go buy extra clothing for work. That they needed food for a refrigerator. That notify them promptly as you can.
Absolutely. Now, so let's talk about what happens post-storm. So we're talking about like looking at the repairs. So one of the things that is could be a huge lifesaver, especially if it's a large amount of damage, is if you hired a public adjuster. And a public adjuster gets paid at the back end once the claim has been settled. It's usually a percentage of what they're able to recoup. The interesting thing about a public adjuster is they typically come from the insurance carrier side and are extremely familiar with the policy and know exactly where the policy allows you to get more things covered, and they really take advantage of that so that you are not in a hindrance where maybe the gutters were damaged, or that the fence was damaged, or you have coverage for trees. These things are what they know that you and I don't typically know, and your insurance provider is not going to run out and tell you that, oh, claim that too.
That's absolutely true. And they are licensed by the state, and they are the only license that is actually allowed to discuss your insurance claim with the insurance company.
The other thing to do is avoid the traveling roofers. We see these all the time. They come through. They serve a purpose. They are there for a reason. But if you have the ability to pass on those, I would encourage you to pass on those.
So one of this is also from personal experience, or a friend of mine's personal experience that went through that tornado issue. Right after that tornado came through the neighborhood, there were immediately people driving up and down the streets in pickup trucks. Well, I mean, in whatever car, it didn't have to be a pickup truck, but they were there and
canvassing the neighborhood.
They were canvassing the neighborhood, and they had a bunch of the blue tarps with them, and they would go up to a homeowner. They did this homeowner, and they said, "Hey, sign right here, and we'll take care of securing your roof right now." And he did that, and they did that, and then when time came to put a new roof on, they threatened to sue him because he had signed here that he was going to use them to put his roof on.
Yep. The other thing too is remember that you don't have to share your deductible with them. What you're looking for, and this is them, the roofer, what you're looking for is a bid. This is also a really good filter. If they say that they need to know your deductible in order for them to create a bid, that's usually someone who's not on the up and up. Hold back that information. There's no reason for them to have this. Use this as a filter. Get the right person to done right.
And many times a roofer will say, "Well, I'll talk to your insurance. I can get this covered." Legally, they cannot talk to your insurance carrier about that roof. They can meet the adjuster out there and give their professional opinion of it, but they cannot negotiate with them. There's also legislation that passed about 3 or 4 years ago that you physically need to make that payment for your deductible to the roofer or the repair company. You need to have that documentation to show that you did that, because if you didn't pay that deductible, that is a crime.
That is correct. And it is tightened up. Last but not least, and you're going to see this on your seller's disclosure if you ever sell your house, they'll be able to know if a roof was put on because you're going to say that, but then they're also going to go back and check with the city to find out if a permit was pulled for that. These are items that need to be done. They need to be pulled and they need to be closed. These are critical and can actually hurt the value of your home if not done properly.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So we hope you have found that helpful. If there's any other questions you have, certainly reach out and let us know. If there are any other topics you'd like for us to discuss, just let us know that too.
And remember, we want to be realtors for life.
When you're ready to talk real estate, you can reach us online, by phone, or by text at 214-377-2223.
And remember, we want to be realtors for life.